What if everything you thought you knew was in fact a lie? What if you lived in a world where everything was flipped upside down, where everything was topsy-turvy, and what if you lived in a world where the men are actually women and the women are actually men? What if all of your favorite celebrities were secretly transgender? And what if all of your favorite celebrities, even the ones you thought were men, were really women, and all of the ones that you thought were women were actually men? And trust me, it's not just Michelle Obama, but now we're going to do a quick look at the biological differences of the human anatomy versus a male and a female, and we're going to look at the physiological differences too. As you can see here, this is a male and female skeleton that outlines the chart of a male and a female skeleton, and note the difference in the shape of a female pelvis versus a male pelvis. Now, biologically speaking, there are 5 different ways to tell the biological sex determined at birth, and they are the presence or absence of a Y chromosome, and when it comes to reproductive system development, the type of gonads or the genitals that are present, so testes for men versus ovaries for females. We also have the sex hormones in the presence of an SRY gene in male versus the lack of presence of one in females. We also have the internal genitalia, where in 6 weeks after conception within a male, biologically speaking, the Wolffian duct begins to develop, which is also called the mesonephric duct, wherein the epididymis, vas deferens, seminal vesicle, and ejaculatory duct begin to form. Whereas for the case of females, the Mullerian duct begins to develop, which is also known as the paramesonephric duct, wherein fallopian tubes, the uterus, and the upper part of the vagina becomes present, and then there's also the external genitalia, wherein the male has a penis and the woman has a vagina. There's also physiology used to determine the differences between a male and a female, including what's called sexual dimorphism, which is the difference in appearance between males and females of the same species. Now, this includes difference in the gonads or the genitals, such as testes and ovaries, internal genitals and external genitals, the presence and appearance of breasts, muscle mass, height, the shape and size of arms, legs, hands, and feet, and also the endocrine systems or the hormonal systems and how they affect the behavior in males and females, psychologically speaking. Now, this is just basic human anatomy 101, which they pretty much had to take out of Zionist public education schools for young children, and now we know why, because now we're going to be applying these basic human anatomy traits to your favorite celebrities to actually see if they're really what they say they are. And you can ask anyone in the medical profession these things, and they will tell you the exact same thing, biologically speaking, and when it comes to the anatomy and physiologically speaking, the difference between a male and a female. Now, when it comes to the skull specifically, men are generally 10% larger in proportion to women and have a bigger head size. Men typically have bigger skulls or head than a woman. A woman's front hairline generally has a widow's peak, and this is generally speaking. As you can see in the picture above, men generally have square jawlines, whereas women's are more rounded, curved, and oval looking. Men's eyes are generally more spread apart than women, and you can also see that men have bigger ears when compared to women. They also have a more defined sloping eyebrow ridge when compared to women, as you can see here versus right here. Men typically have bigger eyebrows than women, bigger lips, and a bigger mouth than the average woman. Men also have larger ears than women, a more defined Adam's apple, and not to mention that men typically have wider necks and wider wrists than women do. Now, when it comes to the body and the torso specifically, men typically have a bigger, more defined muscles than women do and are more masculine in their body features. They typically also have bigger feet than women, and the hands tell a whole lot about the person, and we'll be talking more about that later on. And also you can tell by the shoulders that men's shoulders are in line with their hips, whereas the female hips are wider than their shoulders, and the reason for this has to do with childbearing, childbearing, women need to have wider hips in order to have a child. When it comes to the shoulders and torso, men's torso is typically more straight than women, whereas the women's torso is more curved. Men are typically taller, and a man's pelvis is in line with their waist, whereas the woman's pelvis is wider than her waistline. And if you look at the shoulder width for the average man, is 3 times their head width when looking straight ahead, whereas it is 2 to 2.5 times bigger for women. And if you look at the male pelvis, you'll see that he has especially a prominent pelvic bone, and men typically also have more defined rib cages when compared to women. In women, the ring finger and the index finger tend to be about the same length, but in men, the index finger is usually shorter of the 2 digits. Now, when it comes to the legs and feet specifically, as you can see in a diagram here, it's typically more defined when it comes to the legs and the angle of the legs in a woman versus a male. And you can also see that the legs are more spread out in a male versus a woman. Men never show signs of having cellulite, which is more obvious in women. Men typically have longer legs and arms than women do, and the thigh or the upper leg for a woman is more angled than a man's childbearing, as illustrated above. And you can see here typically too that women typically have a more curve when it comes to the waist versus a male. Now that we know the biological differences between a male and a female, now we're going to apply them to your favorite celebrities and see who they check out to be. And we're going to start with the most obvious ones and the ones that have been talked about and go from there. And of course, we're going to start with who? None other than Michelle Obama, or should I say Manshell Obama, or should I say Michael LaVaughn Robinson. As you can see right here, he in fact has an Adam's apple. You can see the square jawline right here and the more masculine traits that are defined. The bigger ears right here and these shoulders are way more masculine than they are feminine. In a picture that's taken here, as we talked about earlier, you can see that by his face alone, his face is 3 head widths or 3 times the size when it comes to the length of the shoulders, and this is typically seen on men. You can see the broad shoulders right here. You can see the straight body torso, which is also typically found in men. The size of his hands are much too large for a woman when compared to a man. And then we have some of the more obvious one where Michelle, or should I say Manshell's you know what, is actually showing, and you can see it, and that's why they have them wearing ginormous dresses to try to cover it up, but it looks like they haven't done a good job whatsoever. And then in other pictures like this one, we see the obvious and how obvious it really truly is. You don't even need to be a neurosurgeon to figure this one out. And of course, we cannot forget the time where Michelle was featured on Ellen, and well, when he started dancing, there was something that was showing that we really did not need to see. Not to mention other pictures like this one where they're just way too obvious, but what if I were to tell you too that the children who are adopted, by the way, they too are transgender. This is a man too. Look at those long arms and these long legs right here. And what if I told you that yes, he was never pregnant whatsoever, but I'm not the only one, because Joan Rivers says the same thing.
Miss Rivers, how are you? You made a ton of news officiating the wedding in New York yesterday. Is this like a new cottage career move for you?
I'm so excited.
Okay.
And I should do very well because I don't charge.
And do you think that the country will see the United States will see the first gay president or the first woman president?
We already have it with Obama, so let's just calm down.
Got it.
You know Michelle is a
I'm sorry, she's a what?
a transgender. We all know.
Oh my gosh.
Oh gosh. It's okay.
And then we have the more obvious ones, the Williams sisters, or should I say the Williams brothers, when it comes to Serena Williams and Venus Williams. And that's another way that Hollywood is subliminally telling you that all of your celebrities and athletes are not who they truly are, because you can also tell by their names. Williams, hello. And we're going to be talking more about that because it's not just them. But in this one, you can see it with the presence of biceps right here. You can also see it with the broad shoulders and the shoulder line up here. You can see it with the wide neck up here. You can also see it with the face and how it looks. The bigger ears. You also see it with the hands and how detailed they really are. It resembles more of a male's hands than it does a female. Another way to tell is when they were younger. As you can see, when they were children in this picture here, they look more like men than they do women. They're just men with hair. And you can even see it here. They're just boys with beads indeed. And why did he even get them those beads to begin with? To try to hide and conceal their true identity. But even in the face and the jawline, you can even see right here for both of them, they resemble more of a male than they do a female. You also see here too with the long giant nose and the ginormous forehead too for the both of them. Oh, this deception goes much deeper than we think. And then, of course, from then to now, and they're featured on a New York Times article, but you see they're just what? Men with hair. Look at the long giant neck. You can see right here with these shoulders, they probably tried to get surgery to try to appear to look as women. You can see the broad shoulder line right here, which women do not have whatsoever. And then also the long, elongated arms for the both of them and the big hands right here. You can see the torso, which is common in man. You do not even see an hourglass figure here whatsoever, but you see rather a straight and narrow torso. You see how the shoulders are even bigger than the actual hips here. Even though on a woman they're typically the exact same size, and you see also, of course, the face, which gives a more male prominent face figure, and the legs too. These are legs, and the thighs are huge, which are commonly found in men. But it gets even worse, because when your eyes are truly open to this, you see how deep this really goes. Because here is Mr. Williams sitting on a beach. And as you can see right here, the space between his eyes where his nose is way too big, which is common on a male. You see the shoulders once again, way too big and broad. The biceps right here. You see the long legs right there. You see all of the traits that define a man commonly. And you even see a bit of an eyebrow ridge and a sloping ridge right there. But you're probably saying to yourself, oh, but Serena Williams is pregnant, so there's no way that he could possibly be a man if he's actually pregnant and expecting a baby real soon. Do you really believe this? And do you really actually truly believe that this man is pregnant whatsoever? Because we're going to be talking about moon bumps and how, yes, Hollywood uses fake pregnancies and fake moon bumps in order to look and appear as though they're pregnant when they're really not. Which leads us into our next person, Beyonce, and fake pregnancies. Because what if I told you too that yes, Beyonce is in fact a boy, or should I say Boyonce? Beyonce is a man and all of his pregnancies were fake.
Our interview with Beyonce was destined to be revealing.
How you doing? I'm good.
But what this moment exposed to some even caught us by surprise. Here it is again, slowed down. As Beyonce sits down with Molly Meldrum, her dress folds. That crease caused a worldwide controversy.
Some are wondering if Beyonce is faking her baby bump. After the singer appeared on an Australian TV show.
Bumpgate went viral.
Now, why would Beyonce want to fake a pregnancy? Because it's not really a woman. This is not a woman. You can see right here that this is what? Fake breasts and plastic surgery is all it is. Look at these long arms. Look at the wide elongated neck. Look at these giant ears. And look at the prominent facial features that resemble quite well a man indeed. And of course, Hollywood goes above and beyond to keep the delusion real and to keep making you think that you're actually looking at a woman when really you're looking at a man secretly. And how do they do that? With Photoshop and with plastic surgeries, breast implants, hormones, surgeries, liposuction, and the list goes on. Not to mention how they hire lookalike celebrities secretly, and they do so to conceal the truth. But even in this picture at a photo shoot, of Beyonce, you can see here the straight torso right here. They tried to curve it a little bit to give the appearance and the illusion, but really we know that this is a man secretly. You can even tell by the torso and how it looks. You can tell by, again, the long arms. You can see that there was some surgery here and some implants done, especially on the face, because they try to make the face look round, but really they try to hide the square jawline. You can tell by the legs too and how wide they are. And you can see this is the case with Beyonce. You can even look at Beyonce as a child. You can see the length from the chin all the way down from to the lips. And this is more prominent in men. You see the giant ears right here even as a boy, because Beyonce is a boy. And he even sang that song, "If I Were a Boy." What is he really subliminally trying to tell you? And then also the forehead here too. They have been telling us who they really are for the longest. And if you'd like to learn more about fake pregnancies and how they work in Hellywood, all you have to do is go to Natalie Portman and ask him, and he will tell you all about it. That's why he subliminally tells you his real name, Natalie Portman, because of who he really is. You can see here he has a male jaw or a square jawline. This neck is way too big for any type of woman to have. You can even size the face right here and you'll see that it's 3 times the size right here as the shoulders. The shoulders are way too broad and bigger than the actual hips. As you can see right here, the shoulders are square, the arms are long, way longer than they would be on a female. These legs resemble the legs of a man, especially the knees. There are no hips whatsoever, and of course, the obvious, the boobs are fake. And the neck is very broad and long and wide, just like you would see on a male. And if you take a look at this picture right here of Mr. Portman, you see 2 more prominent male features. You can see the ears are bigger, the square jawline once again. It looks like they're concealing an Adam's apple right here. And you can just take a look at the face and you see it resembles what? A male with hair.
Small, and everyone thinks I'm like about to pop and about to give birth any minute, and I have like months. I went to this store the other day to like buy water, and the guy at the checkout counter was like, "Almost, huh?" I was like, "No, not at all."
Not even close. Gosh, you're way off, dude.
Yeah.
But how do they fake these pregnancies? It's real simple with moon bumps and fake pregnant bellies, and there are actual websites that you can go to and you can actually purchase a fake pregnant belly, and they even have pictures of it here at moonbump.com, as you can see, and you can see some of them and how they actually look and how they're fake. And yes, you even see Rachel McAdams, and yes, Rachel McAdams is a man too. That's why his name is McAdams. Adams, hello. And he's wearing a moon bump to look pregnant, just like all of the other alleged women in Hellywood, because they're all really men. But let's keep going. As you can see right here, you see the alleged moon bumps and how they look. You see pictures right here of how one looks. They have different shapes and different sizes for different women, as you can see right here. This is how deep this deception goes. And like I said, you can actually purchase them too, if you would like. And on this website specifically, you can even pick your fake pregnant belly from silicone or foam or whatever it is that you choose. And you can see right here, here's the foam one that they have, here's a moon bump, and they also have a silicone one, and it's even starting at 130 pounds from 220 pounds. And if we go back to the pictures here, this is how they look once again. If we scroll up, you can see this is how one of them looks. Like I said, they come in very different sizes, various sizes. Here are some of the colors and sizes that they come in, and we'll enlarge it too. Now on this website specifically, you can see the different sizes and colors that they have. They even have ones available from 3 to 4 months, 5 to 6 months, 7 to 8 months, and even 9 months ones here. And you can better believe that Hellywood is using these indeed to try to further this deception. And later on, we're going to talk about why they're doing it. And they have it in all different shades and types and colors. They also have this one too with the silicone pregnancy bump sizes. Here they have 3 to 4 months, 5 to 6 months, 7 to 8 months, and 8 to 9 months. And they have the different sizes of the height, the width, the depth, and the weight. And then here is another gallery that shows you how they look between 3 to 9 months, as you can see up here, but it actually shows you how they look with an actual woman who has a fake pregnancy. And don't worry, you can even get them off of eBay too, and they start at 17 pounds all the way to 128 pounds and so on. And they even have websites where you can get facial surgery done, and they even have places where you can get forehead recontouring and hairline lowering done, and that's exactly what they do in Hollywood to make it appear and look like they're the gender that they're trying to portray, but really they're in fact the opposite one. Which is why they also hire look-alikes, especially when it comes to the opposite sex, just as Natalie Portman, because they're literally telling you exactly who they are. Now, for the purposes of this video, we're mostly going to be exposing so-called women in Hollywood and showing you who they really, truly are. But don't take my word for it, because some of them have even actually admitted to you who they truly are.
Everybody knows that you're a very attractive woman, but tell us, what would surprise people about Jessica Alba?
I'm a man. I'm a man. I'm a man.
Because I'm pretty sure I'm a doppelganger for Alan Alda. I'm a tranny. I'm a man. You're not this woman. I'm a tranny. I'm a man. I'm a tranny. I'm a man. I'm a tranny. I'm a tranny. I'm a tranny. I'm a tranny. I'm a man. I'm a man. I'm a man. I'm a man.
Take a look, and what do you really see? Is this really a woman, or is this just a man with hair? Because you can see right here the square jawline and the Adam's apple of who? None other than Jessica Alba, who even admitted that yes, he is in fact a man indeed. And of course, you have the Fox himself known as Megan Fox. And you can see right here, they're just not even hiding it anymore. You see the Adam's apple right here. You see the square jawline. You see the big ears up here, the broad shoulders and the square shoulders and how large they really are. You can see that this is probably a result of surgery right here. I mean, it's so obvious to the point they're just putting it in front of our faces. But like I said, it's not just these men. It's also some of your favorite singers, as we went over with Beyonce, or should I say Boyonce, but don't worry, it's also Ciara too, as you can see right here with the broad neck and the square jawline and the Adam's apple. And like I said, the neck is way too wide, the giant ears, the face and the bone structure of the face resembles that of a male, and you can see how giant the forehead is too. Are you really looking at a woman, or are you looking at a man with hair and with an Adam's apple and the broad shoulders and a straight torso and everything that has the characteristics of a man, not to mention the long arms too? And it's no surprise or coincidence because his name just so happens to be Ciara Harris. They tell us exactly who they are right in front of us all along, and at first we were all blind to see it, myself included, but now that we're awakened and now that we know the bigger agenda, we now see exactly who they really are. Now, like I said, in this video we'll be specifically covering the alleged women and why they're doing this and the bigger agenda behind this, but another common one is Wendy Williams, and like I said, they subliminally tell us in their names. As you can see right here, he has the square jawline, the big broad shoulders, the ginormous neck right here. If you look at a picture of him right here, you can see that his cheekbones are very masculine right here. You can see with the giant forehead up here, you can see that the space between the nose right here for the eyes is very wide, which is common on a male right there. And also you can tell by the chin and the lips, this is common and more common on a male than it is on a female right here. You can see as we talked about the big broad shoulders. Now they might have tried to do with plastic surgery to try to make his face rounder, but it just didn't work because we can see right through the illusion, right through the mask indeed. And another way to tell too is you can look at some of the childhood photos and photos as a teenager, because what they do is they do what? They transfer from male to female or female to male, and it's all of them. They're all tranny and they're all transgenders, and then they finally clone them and have them for what? Demonic possessions, and that's exactly what they're doing. And you can see for Mr. Williams here, you can see by the bigger face, you see by the shoulder features right here, the big square shoulder lines as him as a teenager. You see the bigger arms and the muscular arms and biceps. Here's another picture of Wendy Williams as a child. You can see right here he has on more male clothes. You can tell by the arms and the big broad arms right here, the square shoulder right here. It's very obvious indeed. And that's why Mr. Williams gets why people think that she is a he, because he is really a he. Are you looking at a she, or are you really looking at a he? Now, I've actually covered and gone over Lady Gaga before in my Pizzagate video, but I'll just cover him once again, because as you see here, he has broad shoulders right here, the square jawline and the square neck right there. He also has the giant neck right here, and you can see by the face too right there, it's more masculine. You even see here too, and like I pointed out in the other video, you can also tell by his name, Stefani Germanata. Stefani is his first name. Stefan, hello, they're literally telling you that he's a man with fake boobs indeed. And I've also gone over this picture at an event that he was at in Paris in 2009, and I mean, they literally just make it so obvious to the point where you cannot even miss it whatsoever, and they literally just put it right in front of us, so blatant indeed. And I've also talked about too with Marina Abramovic, or should I say Abramovic, from the dust cover of spring 2013 issue, and we've gone over spirit cooking before with John Podesta and the whole scandal with that. As you can see here with the long arms, you see right here too that the ring finger is way longer than the index finger, and it's just really disgusting what goes on. You see by the square jawline here, you see that the face ratio is 3 times that right here of the shoulder length. And of course, we cannot forget about none other than the Kardashians. Now, the illusion that they like to give is that Bruce Jenner was the first one to be transgender and to come out openly as transgender. But what if it's the entire family? And what if they're secretly transgender and have been all this time? And remember this too, the names give it away, just like Kris Jenner. Oh my goodness, but let's keep going because we also have the same thing for Kourtney, which was in fact a male's name long ago, not to mention the middle name of Kim Kardashian, which is Noel. And Khloe's middle name, which just so happens to be Alexandra. Alex, hello, is it making sense? And of course, we even have two, Kendall and Kylie. Kendall, which can also be a male's name, and Kylie's middle name, which is Kristen. Oh, they're really telling us who they are. And even this picture you can see right here, both Kris and Kourtney, they both have a square jawline, a very defining neck right there, which is only present in men. Same with Kim, a long neck right there with the long shoulders and the broad biceps and the square shoulders here. You can even see it in all of their legs and the wide thighs. These are men's legs right here. You see it right here with the Adam's apple right there. You see the jawline. They tried to round it with surgery and liposuction because they've all had surgery because they're keeping up this delusion. Not anymore. What are they being so quiet about? What secrets are they really hiding from us that they're trying to hide, but are really subliminally telling us each and every single moment, each and every single time you even look at the tabloids? What is it that they're really hiding? Why are they really being quiet here? And why is it that they're subliminally making these signs and the tape on their faces? What is it that they don't want you to know? Why all the constant all-seeing eye symbolisms? And you can even see many of the male qualities in these pictures just with their shoulders and how broad and wide they are. The wide wrists right here, the big ginormous hands right here too. And they tried to, of course, remodify their hands to try to hide it. But of course, we know better than that. The long neck right here, it's so obvious indeed. But what is it that they're really truly keeping a secret? But as I've said earlier, they've been subliminally telling us everything right in front of our faces because this comes from E! Online, which says, Kardashian sisters confession, we've turned out to be the biggest trannies. Here we have a picture of Scarlett Johansson. Scarlett Johansson? Johan? Very interesting and suspicious indeed. Are you really looking at a woman or are you looking at a man with hair? Because even with the cheekbones and the big forehead, and you can see that they did surgery here with the round face, you can see that this is in fact a man indeed, and even the broad shoulders up here. But once again, they subliminally tell us, even with an SNL skit that Mr. Johansson did back in 2015, dressed up as a man. Does this image fit him better, or does this one? You decide who this really is, not to mention the Adam's apple even right there. Here is a 1998 picture portraying Scarlett Johansson in the film The Horse Whisperer. Now when you look at this picture and take a real closer look, does this resemble more of a male or a female? You decide. We also have the Trump family, or should I say the tranny Trump family, with Ivanka and Melania Trump. Ivan and Mel, like male? Oh, now it makes sense, because is our president really a male, or is he really a female? And the first lady, is it really a first lady, or is it really a first man? Here's a picture of Melania and Ivanka, and here you can see a picture of broad shoulders, a long neck once again. They tried to conceal the Adam's apple in both of them. The ears are very big in proportion to the face, and of course the obvious, the fake boobs. And what also appears to be evidence of cloning when it comes to boob jobs, because that's exactly what they're doing too, in order for the demons to inhabit them. Why is all of this going on? Because of deceptions. Because they want you to think that you're actually looking at a woman when really you're looking at a man. Not only that, but it causes what? Confusion indeed, especially for children. And we're going to be going over that later on. But I know you're probably thinking, oh, but they have children. And oh, it claims that they have children, so therefore they cannot possibly be transgender if they have children. Do you actually believe a word that they say? Don't you know that the children are in on the scheme too, and that the children are probably transgender too? It's all a big secret. It's all a big psyop. It's all a big sham, and it's all a big scam. They're all in on the big scheme and the big scam, including Kristen Stewart. Oh, I hear it twice there. Chris and Stewart. That's why they give them male haircuts, because they're subliminally telling you who they really are. Which is also why they even wear these shirts that even say tomboy on them, because again, it's all about subliminals. They're telling you right in front of you all the time, each and every single moment, who they really truly are, who they give allegiance to, who they worship, and what they really are. And you can see on a picture right here of Kristen Stewart, younger, you can even see the Adam's apple right there. Are you looking at a female or are you looking at a little boy? Another one that they put in front of our face too is Miley Cyrus. You can even see it with the hairstyle. Who does this closely resemble? You can see it with the big ears. You can see it with the straight broad shoulders right here and the wide neck right there too. You can even see it next to Miley Cyrus and Justin Bieber. Is this really a boy? And is this really a girl? Or is this really a boy? And is this really a girl? And it's no wonder that Miley Cyrus cannot seem to identify whatever gender that Miley really is, and identifies as pansexual. And what does this have to do with your children? Brainwashing, because they're tricking little girls into thinking that your favorite pop stars and whatnot are actually women, when really they're the opposite gender. All those musicians that you see on Disney and Nickelodeon and whatnot, they're the exact opposite gender, and they're brainwashing children and causing confusion. And what it has to do with too, idolatry and idol worship. And they want to brainwash the children and start them while they're young. And they use puppets like Miley Cyrus, Justin Bieber, and the list goes on, and even Kristen Stewart. Why? Because it's all subliminal, and they like to start young, start early, start with the children indeed. And yes, this is true indeed. Most, if not all, of the A-list celebrities that you heard of as a child or on TV are in fact the opposite gender. They are transgender, and this includes with Disney Channel, Demi Lovato and Selena Gomez, and the list goes on and on. They are in fact the opposite gender, and it's not surprising either when it comes to movies like this with the movie Get Out and the alleged actress Allison Williams. Oh, who does this really look like, and who is this really resembling, especially in the Bizarre magazine? Well, what's bizarre about this picture indeed is that here there's no waistline whatsoever when it comes to the hips. It's just a straight line right here, which you commonly see in a man, long arms that you see in a man too, and big hands that you see in a man also, with the fake boobs too. And what's more bizarre about this is how this has been going on for so long, for so many centuries indeed. Because no, this did not just start a few years ago. No, this did not just start back in the early 2000s. This has been going on since the time of Egypt, since the time of Rome, since the time of Greece. And it's no surprise that it's going on right now in modern day Sodom and Gomorrah too. You see him here, Mr. Williams, with the long shoulders that is commonly seen on a man, the long neck. You can sort of see the Adam's apple right there, the square jawline. They tried to do some surgery here, but we know the truth now, and the truth will make us free indeed. And yes, that even includes Courtney Cox too, and boy does the name give it away, Courtney Cox, and that's all I'm gonna say about that, with the fake boobs and the long neck and the Adam's apple right here. And of course they had surgery on the face to try to attempt to make it square, and the ginormous ears up there. And you can even see a picture right here. This picture pretty much gives it away. And we also have too Eva Longoria. There's something very long about Eva Longoria that they're not going to tell you, of course, but you can even see here with the shoulders and how broad it is right here. You see with the muscles and the biceps right there, this is a man wearing a dress indeed. You even see it here with the bikini. Now this could be a double look-alike, but you even see that the hips are not that wide whatsoever. And speaking of hips, when it comes to hips, Shakira knows all about that because his hips sure don't lie whatsoever. And this is a picture of him. And as you can see right here, he has what? The straight line right there. And of course, they probably had surgeries and liposuctions and took how many hormones and implants in order to even get this look right here. You can see the big broad shoulder line right here. The neck is so broad right there too. And what woman has this torso? This is only a torso that could be found in a man along with fake breasts and breast implants. Oh no, Shakira, them hips don't lie whatsoever, and neither do these long arms either, and neither does the skeleton symbol, because who does he give his allegiance and worship to? That's right, the transgender satanic Baphomet. And she ain't no holla back girl? How about she ain't no girl whatsoever? Because Gwen Stefani, just like Stefani Germanata, Lady Gaga, you can even see it in the picture here, the square jawline right here, the long neck, a little bit of an Adam's apple right there. This definitely ain't no hollaback girl. This is not even a girl whatsoever. It's just a man with hair indeed. We even have Sandra Bullock, and it's interesting because Mr. Bullock's last name actually means testicles. So what are they really subliminally trying to tell us? You can see with this wide neck right here that's only found in men. You can see a little bit of the square jaw right there. You can see a little bit of an Adam's apple right here. You can see the length of the chin, and they had a bunch of chin surgery too. But yes, this is a man also. And then, of course, we have Julia Roberts. Again, there's the Roberts. They're not even trying to hide it whatsoever. You could even see with the hand that this is a giant palm for a woman because it's really a man. And they tried to, of course, do reduction surgery here so we would not tell the difference. But, of course, we're exactly awakened to what they're really doing. You could even see with the giant nose right here. And of course, we also have the broad shoulders, the fake boobs right here, as you can see, and even the giant lips too, and the broad cheekbones here, which is traits commonly found in a male. And then there's even Keira Knightley. We hear the night right there. These arms are way too long. The boobs are fake. And we see here, down here, that this is the torso and the body of a man indeed. And even the neck and shoulder line give it away. You could even see a little bit of the deltoids here. There's also Taylor Swift, and we hear it in the first name once again, Taylor. You can even see it with the shoulder line here. You can see it with the bigger ears here. You can see that they tried to once again hide the face with the square jawline, but you can see it a little bit with surgeries and reductions. Now it's interesting too, because when you look at Taylor Swift as a child, and I'll enlarge the picture a little bit so you can see it right there. Who does this closely resemble? Does this look like a little girl, or does this look like a little boy with long hair? And yes, there's Ariana Grande, and there's something very grande about Ariana that they don't want you to know about, but you can even see with the long legs right here, these long arms, these men-like shoulders right here that only are resembled in men, the bigger ears. Now I can go on and on and on and on because the list does not stop here. The transgender agenda is everywhere in Hollywood, and it's even in your royal families, because are they really queens or are they really drag queens? Are they real housewives or are they really house husbands? And if you would like me to do a video covering more on this, please let me know in the description box below, because it's also true in your athletes too. Yes, some of your favorite quarterbacks are actually women this entire time. It's all over in tennis, and it's definitely seen in gymnastics, especially ladies gymnastics, quote unquote. But if you would like me to do a video covering more on musicians, more on celebrities, more on the royal family, and more on athletes in specific, please let me know in the description box below, and please comment in the description box. But yes, in case you're wondering, your royal families are transgender too. Yes, the women are actually men, and yes, the men are actually women. And like I said, this is nothing new. This has been going on for a very long time. And yes, Marilyn Monroe, Mr. Monroe, yes, he is in fact a transgender too. And you can see it with the shoulders. You can see it with the long arms. You can see it with the waist. They try to hide it. You can even see it with the long neck and the wide neck. You can even see it with the brow ridge a little bit. I'm telling you, this has been going on for a very long time, even since the 1900s and even since the 1800s. This is nothing new whatsoever. And like I said, if you would like me to cover more in detail, please let me know in the description box below. And also, as a bonus, when you take a look at Marilyn Monroe and some of the earlier photos, you see that the pose right here is very striking to the pose of a man. Just look at the back and how it curves, and look at the back of this man and how it curves, and you see the exact same comparisons. But the question remains, why? Why are they doing all of this, and what is the bigger agenda, and how does this lead and relate to the New World Order? Well, like I said earlier, it relates to what? The Baphomet and the worship of the Baphomet, who is in fact transgender. And this is the idol that your celebrities give allegiance to. This is who they give homage to. And it's no surprise or coincidence that they're transgender, because this is who they worship. And it's all part of the New World Order agenda so that these demons can possess these transgender bodies, and if not these clone bodies. It's a satanic agenda to brainwash the children into liking teen idols who are really the opposite gender, and causes gender confusion and causes gender identity issues. To the point where little boys do not know the difference between a male and a female, and little girls cannot distinguish the difference when it comes to the so-called celebrities, causing confusion and chaos, or at least attempting to do so in the mind, which is all part of the satanic Baphomet worship. Not to mention how they give a false image of what a man or woman truly is, making and causing women to think that they can become models and tennis players like the Williams, of those who resemble male-like bodies because they're really men. And yes, many of your models, all of the Miss USA and the Miss America and the Miss Universe, they're actually misters. But they're doing that because they're trying to distort their image of what a woman truly is and who a woman truly is by promoting transgender all over the place and seeing the agenda to try to make women feel less than who they are, especially when it comes to industries such as the modeling industry and the athlete sporting industry. And because they're all Satanists and they're all pushing the satanic New World Order agenda, they're attempting to distort creation by their deceptions, illusions, and delusions by ridding genders and attempting to do away with Yahuwah's creation by going against his word and thereby distorting the family, brainwashing young girls with masculinity, and feminizing adult men with idols and idolatry and false mighty ones and the worship thereof at concerts, live performances, and venues, which is all conditioning for what's to come. And what's soon to come? A world with no gender, a genderless world where it will be illegal to say words like boy and words like girl, or even words like male and female, and soon enough a world that is run by lawlessness, as we already see the foundations pushing towards that New World Order agenda each and every single day. Still don't think we're in Sodom and Gomorrah? Well, think again, because this goes much deeper than we think, and like I said, this is only the tip of the iceberg. But if you would like me to cover more celebrities in the transgender agenda, please let me know in the description box below. And as always, please seek Yahuwah and his true son Yahusha so you can be led into all truth, and so that the delusions and the deceptions can go away and you can see the truth with both your eyes open. But this is Truth Unveiled here, and saying as always, Shalom.